Okay, cool. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice one. Hello.
You can't do it now, can you?
No, I can't. No, that's what made me giggle. Hello and welcome to another episode of Men Able Matters with me, Steve Whitten. Now, my guest this time is one of our most prolific and reasonably new ambassadors to the movement. So as part of the process of showcasing who they are and telling us a little bit about their life and their work and stuff, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce James Herbert. James, how are you, sir?
I'm not bad, thanks, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And I deliberately tried to avoid the hello bit at the beginning because James has pointed out that from the film Labyrinth from the 80s, there was a little, I don't know what he was. Was he a worm or something?
Yeah, like a little worm sat on a wall, and Jennifer Connelly sat on the down the wall, and he goes, "Hello," and she's like looking around, and he said, "Did you say hello?" Like, no, I said hello, but that's close enough. That's exactly what you sound like.
And you commented a few weeks ago that I sound just like that. So just for James's benefit and for anyone who's a fan of Labyrinth, hello. How was that?
Brilliant.
All right, perfect. So, James, in good old-fashioned Men Able Matters style, do us a favour and introduce yourself, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do, and we'll pick up from there.
Yeah. So, I'm James, commercial service advisor, which basically means I just look after people's vans when they're in and broken down, things like that. I've been in motor trade since I was 16, so straight out of school. I literally picked the motor trade out of a hat for my sins. Could have gone into anything else, but it seemed all right at the time. I started as an apprentice technician, gradually worked my way through, became an MOT tester, carried on training into sort of being a service advisor, doing team leading and management courses, things like that. So
right.
Been at it about 13 years now. So
yeah, cool. And I think you and I first met on a management course, didn't we? With the particular brand that you work for. I was running their management program.
It was absolutely, yeah. The focus on leadership training.
Yeah.
I think you started off that big presentation. I think your lad were there as well, weren't you?
Yeah, me and Matt. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was, I think, about 2019.
It was, yeah. That was in the days when things were kind of normal.
Yeah, when you could go and visit the academy and sit in a studio and full of people.
Sit next to strangers and talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly. So you joined us as an ambassador. It's what, August now? So we're talking.
I think it was February.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think it was February.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So just tell us a bit more then about what drew you to becoming a Men Able ambassador then. And I know that you've got some stuff of your own that you can share.
Yeah. So the most recent thing that happened that sort of really kicked it in was, I was following you on LinkedIn off the back of that course. And then I started seeing some of the stuff you posted, in your garden, I think it were, weren't it? And the twat in the hat videos and things like that.
I got told to drop those.
Yeah, fair enough.
I got advised that it wasn't the most sensible thing for a professional to be doing.
Well, you still post the videos and it's still good, to be fair.
I can still be but just not in the hat.
Well, yeah. Yeah, so the most recent thing that kicked it was where I worked, there was actually a guy who took his own life.
Right.
It was one of those classic, you never see it coming. He's not the sort of guy to do it. And then that sort of made me think, I've got a lot of stuff in my own life that's gone on. Hell of a lot right the way through growing up. I touched on it with you before that as a kid, I was in, I had one of those sort of childhoods that you wish you'd never had. So growing up, you look to your parents for sort of like role model figures, things like that. And in effect, in truth, that is what I got, but in the total reverse. So I can put it right words without sounding like an absolute arse, but so my dad used to take out his anger on me.
Right.
Didn't like the way I looked because I looked too much like my mother's side of the family. So if anything went wrong with him, or if I was a bad lad, from a young age, it was, clipped at backside, things like that. As I got progressively older, that then got progressively worse. The last time I eventually, last time was when I was 18, he took a parrot perch to me. And at that point, I moved out of home and went to go and live with my mum that I'd not really seen for years, because she sort of just left. And off the back of that, it was a constant living in fear and that I'm not good enough. And my brother was not completely opposite, but sort of like my brother sort of mirrors my dad in the way that he's taller, he looks like him, he acts like him, talks like him. So it was sort of like, it was almost like he was favourite, and because I was getting a lot of the stick from him, quite literally in some cases, then it sort of made me feel like I weren't good enough. So when I say that I got the role model in reverse, it meant that I've got this perfect example of how not to be. So I spent my life trying to be better and trying to be, good at what I was doing, which leading into my work life has done me all right. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword, if you like. So in one respect, I'm like, what can I do to be better? What sort of new training or things can I do to further my career and make people look up to me? But at the same time, always having this underlying fear of not being good enough, or why can't I get the respect of these people? It's really hard to describe. It's trying to think of the right words without going silent here. You're just basically constantly chasing the next step. So at the minute, I'm looking towards management and things like that. But I know the second I get to that chair, if I don't find something else to progress to, I'm going to start falling back. And I'm going to be thinking, well, what's the point? This can't be it. And I'm constantly putting myself down unless I've got something to work towards.
So James, what's driving that then, do you think? Because, I mean, clearly, you talk openly there about the way you were treated by your dad. And you've got this kind of desire for betterment and and I know that you're a bit of a people pleaser as well. I think that might have been the kind of phrase you were looking for. But what's driving you on? What is it that makes you say you're going to get in that next chair and then you're immediately going to be going, right, what's next? What do you think that is?
I think it's to prove a point.
Right. Okay, I get that.
And like I said, because I've always been sort of like, you're no good. You're never going to make anything of your life. It's always like, and then again, going into the apprenticeship, you got the whole, the crap from the other guys, you're the bitch, all that lot. And even now, I still get crap from the guys because I was the apprentice in the same place.
Right.
So I'm trying to get.
Is that what they call banter?
Yeah, I think that's what they call banter. Yeah, which
okay, we might come back to that.
Please, because I've got good points on that one.
Okay, cool.
So it's like, at which level do I have to get to be able to get that respect, or for people to look at me and think, yeah, he's not a guy to be messing about. He's actually quite serious. So yeah, and as you say, I'm a people pleaser. So if I don't, if I'm not getting on with someone, it really affects me like quite badly.
Yeah.
If I think I've upset somebody and I haven't meant to, then it knocks me for six.
Yeah. Well, mate, listen, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'd normally hold this comment until right at the end, but you mentioned there about what level do you need to get to earn respect. You've got that in spades from us.
Yeah.
With what you do for us. I was talking to our management team today, and you are out there in terms of the first name that we think of when we think of our ambassadors. You're posting stuff all the time, and I get it now, because that's all part of the proving a point thing, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like I need to jump up and down. I need to make the right noises. I need the right people to listen.
Yeah. Well, and that's starting to happen. That is happening. So
I've got to admit, it does have a selfish element to it. I want to further myself, but at the same time, there is a genuine reason, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. But there's always going to be that selfish reason in the background that, you need to be better.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I know, I mean, this might be touchy for you, but I mean, clearly your dad chose to, deal with you in a certain way. Um,
Mm.
did you ever, have you ever, or since then, stopped and wondered or thought about why he behaved in that way? What was going on for him?
Funnily enough, yeah. I actually thought about it the other day in the car, listening to your other podcast with other people, stuff they've been through, and I thought, I'll have a think about it. And to be fair, he lost his dad at 13.
Hmm.
And I don't think he ever really got over it. Never had counselling. It was like 40 years ago, something like that now.
Hmm.
So, he did have his own stuff. He was going through a divorce when I was a kid. He met someone else and went through another divorce, met someone else and started moving in with her. There was money troubles all the time. But at the same time, while he did have all that going on, there's just no excuse, it's not a reason to take it out on your kids. Like, you're supposed to be protecting them,
Hmm.
not your kids aren't supposed to bring themselves up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
So
not necessarily what you would call learnt behavior then, if he lost his dad at that age. It's not like
no,
he sort of learnt that behavior from someone else.
no. I think he was always. I think he got the belt. He was of that sort of generation that got the
Mm.
belt if they were doing something bad. So he would have got that at a young age, and then
Hmm.
he'd have just carried on into his later life without being told that's not the way to do things.
Yeah. Yeah. So here you are now,
Mm,
uh, in your career, and you're doing really well.
thank you. Trying.
And well, the reason I say that is because I know that you are posting stuff regularly, and you're doing quite a lot of stuff sort of on behalf of us, which is brilliant as an
Yeah.
ambassador. And particularly today, you did a post using the analogy of an oil leak, which I thought was pretty bloody inspired actually, because I thought, why haven't I thought of that? So tell us a bit about that, because I mean that as you said before we started recording, that clearly touched a nerve and it resonated. Because I think most people can get the analogy.
Yeah, well, that's it. My phone has been going mental all bleeding day.
Oh wow, right, okay.
Pings, obviously, you've shared it. The Menable in UK, the USA, and Australia have all shared it. I've had other ambassadors share it. I posted it on a forum for the workplace, and yeah, loads of people commenting on it. So again, I was listening to your podcast and just taking on board what everyone else was saying, because these guys you've been having on seem to really have it together. So basically, the concept I came up with was that mental health is like an oil leak on a car. So if you have someone come in with an oil leak for a car, you go, right, I've got an oil leak, how do I fix it? You don't have this initial sort of like, oh, well, it's that. You've got to ask questions. So relating it to the car, you've got, how bad is it? Where is it coming from? Are you having to top up regular? Can you see anything on your drive? But if you then relate that back to mental health, you've got a few things you've got to think about. If someone's mental health is like that oil leak, so you think of the person as the car, and they are dripping oil, and that is their mental health, state of health. So you're not always going to see just by looking how bad that is. You might not see it at all. It could be internal, it could be external. And unless you're asking people the right questions, how are you, what you're up to, how's you been, things like that, you're never going to know how bad that is. So I said, what you've basically got to do is keep topping that oil up, doing things that you enjoy doing, I don't know, going for walks or recording podcasts, whatever. And then there is people out there, not a mechanic, obviously, but like counselors, things like that you can talk to fix that leak. And that's basically what I came up with.
Yeah, a brilliant analogy. And I think, clearly because we're focused on the automotive industry, most people get the concept of an oil leak. Have experienced it. If you've ever driven a car, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant analogy because you're absolutely spot on. It's about finding the source of that leak.
Yeah, exactly. And if you were to continue with that leak without getting help, eventually you're going to run out of oil, you're going to burn out and drive yourself to destruction.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that what we have a tendency to do in our industry is that because we're a diagnostic and fix it business, then our both of us just then our instinct was find the source of the leak and fix it.
Well, it's about stopping that leak from happening altogether, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
in your
about
first instance.
prevention, isn't? Yeah, it's about awareness and education and prevention, and
Yeah.
those are the three pillars of Men Able. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, forgive me, they're using the leak analogy still, but would you say, because I know that what you've described has created some anxieties in you, do you think you have kind of found the source of your leak? I mean, it'd be very easy to assume that that's the relationship you had with your dad, but is there more to it?
I mean, I don't know if it's a source of the leak. I think I'm not going to lie, it's very well embedded now. I'm not even sure. I've never had counselling. I am starting to think it's a good idea because I have a lot of anxieties and they're becoming OCDs.
Right.
So like, such as, well, again, other things that have caused me trauma throughout my life, just little things, caused me to do daft little things. Like I put cameras up on my house because someone knocked at my door the other day asking for money for cleaning my windows, and I'd never seen him before, never cleaned my windows. So it made me anxious because a few years ago, I had my car wrecked on my drive like 3 or 4 times. And what I used to do when I was younger was sit up at night watching the cameras. I couldn't sleep because I was looking at cameras. That's starting to come back around again because I've put cameras up and I'm starting to look at them at night, and it pings. I'm like, oh, what's that? What's that? And a moth flew past the camera last night and pinged and woke me up. And then I can't leave the house now without checking the door 3 times. So I'll lock the door. I'll watch myself do it. And I'm literally there for people watching this. It'll be easy. I'm there with the handle. I'll turn the key, and I'm like that. And I'll just keep doing it a couple of times so I can try and embed it in my memory that I've done it. So I've got like a safe knowledge that I've done it. And then I'll drive away. I might get halfway down the street and I'll turn around and come back and double check it again.
Wow. Okay.
So there's things like that, the anxieties of stuff like that are then becoming compulsive behaviors. So in truth, I probably do need a bit of counselling. I'm sure we all have mad issues like that. But yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think to some extent everyone does have things that become behaviors as a result of these anxieties and things. I'll always be an advocate for saying sort of counselling or therapy of some description. And it sounds like that you're at a fairly early stage in kind of identifying actually that, one, you've recognized this is happening, and also that you're identifying kind of what's causing it.
Yeah.
I think
knowing it's there is helping control it. If I just ignored it and hoped it'd go away, I'm sure it'd get worse. But knowing it's there and just trying to take measures not to feel safer is the biggest thing, I think.
And what's the effect of this on you sort of in the workplace then?
That's a hard one. 'Cause my day is a million miles an hour.
Just remind us what your job actually is.
So yeah, I'm a service advisor. So
right, yeah, the probably the toughest job in a dealership.
The front line. Yeah. I'm the distressed purchase. I'm the guy who takes your money that you really don't want to have your money. You're not getting a shiny object from me. You're getting your car back. You're getting your keys handed back to you after a day of losing it with a big bill in your hand and nothing to show.
And it's in the same condition it was when you gave it in. So
pretty much, because I work with vans, they don't get washed. So yeah, my day's constantly running around like a headless chicken. But again, it's less the anxieties and more the people pleasing. Well, I kind of guess that is an anxiety. If I don't please a customer, or if I don't fulfill a promise or anything like that, then it affects me personally. It's not like I switch off and go, oh well, sorry, it's only work. I'm not like that. I can't do it. I'm the most straight talking guy you'll come across at work, and a lot of people like it. Some people don't. I'll say it how it is, and it tends to work. That's the main thing, and I can get away with it, and I can charm people into not being mad. Because at the end of the day, I don't work in a backstreet garage or anything. So my favourite one to pull when I'm charging someone big bucks or saying, look, you're going to need this or you're going to need that at 500 quid, say, but look, if you don't want to do it, fine. I'm not holding a gun to your head. And I immediately pull out that it's a big company. It's not going in my pocket. I'm not here to take your money. It makes no odds to me whether you have it done or not. You do it or don't. And leave it at that. And people seem to appreciate the candidness of it.
Yeah. That kind of sort of raw honesty and authenticity, isn't it? That you're not trying to fudge the issue or charge them horrendous amounts of money for no reason.
Yeah, I don't get commission.
Yeah.
I'm not a salesman.
Yeah. And I think the thing is with vans as well, I think it's a slightly different audience, isn't it? Because, the most of those, the van is an essential tool of the trade. It needs to be kept mobile.
I had a point where I think I was about 23, just coming into being a senior service advisor, but I had to jack it in because it was too much at the time. And I always said I would never do vans, never, because they're mardy and they just want to gob at you when they're losing money every day. My van's off the road, I'm losing £500-600 a day. I'm like, sod off, what are you doing? I want your job. But when you're working with car customers, what I've tend to realise, it's all yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. But with vans, you go, nah mate, it's knackered. That's it. No sugarcoating. They're all, especially where I am, it's all broad Yorkshire. Just tell them how it is. Nah mate, it's had it. It's naffed.
Yeah. No,
Do you want it fixing?
There's most people quite like that, but I'm in the yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir car kind of category. But
aren't you JLR though?
Hey, shush. Don't make a judgment about that.
Yes.
Yes, I still have the Range Rover.
Yes. Well, when you drive a blue oval,
well,
it's a bit easier to speak to people.
There's a number of reasons why I still have the Range Rover, and it's largely under the umbrella of negative equity.
Not for status. Absolutely.
No, not for status. Status is the byproduct. Negative equity is the thing that keeps you in it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But I think my next car rather is probably going to be a Transit M Sport. It's got to be done.
Yeah, they are decent to be fair.
See me in that, a black one, all men-abled up the side.
Yes.
You reckon? What do you reckon?
Absolutely. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, like the Magical Mystery Tour bus thing off Scooby-Doo.
Yes, the Men-Able machine.
Hey, I like that.
I can see it now.
Van Able. So, these you're come back to your, sorry, make it serious again, but your anxieties that you talked about then, I mean, do you notice them on in the workplace as well? Some of your, you talked about your OCDs and things. I mean, what?
I can't have, I think this is just saying with anyone, I can't have anyone touch my desk at all. Right. I won't even let the cleaner clean it.
Wow.
Because I'll have everything where I like it. And to anyone looking in, from the outside looking in, it'll look atrocious. But I call it organised chaos.
The system, yeah.
I know exactly where everything is. But
wow, okay.
I mean, other than that, I've had to have 2 screens.
Right.
I was jumping up and down because the service department has the sort of like the oldest IT equipment on firm. Everyone's got all these laptops, nice wide screens, and we'd got these like horrible little square things with bad glare and things like that. I'm kicking off like, why is admin got all these new laptops to work from home? Why is sales got all these computers and we're running 15-year-old gear? So I stormed upstairs, got a load of spare monitors and fetched them down, set them up for all the guys on service. I demanded a laptop because I weren't happy with the processing speed of my computer because I'm that geeky, as you'll see behind me. So I was like, no, I need a better quality computer and I need 2 screens. I said, it's not to mess about. It's not to play. It's because I'm that quick. Again, this is going to be more visual for podcast readers, but like my eyes are like that. I'm like one screen, next screen, one screen, next screen. I'm just all over the place because I'm a million miles an hour all the time.
That was left to right if you're listening to this rather than watching the video.
But no, I suppose that's where it comes in. I'm panicking about how quick I need to do work. So I'm constantly up and down all over, buying second phones so that I know my customers can get through to me. I pay for a work phone out of my own pocket, things like that. So.
Right. Now, you mentioned a little while ago, we meant, the subject of banter came up and you said you wanted to talk about that. And then what I want to do is after that is lead on to what is being a Men-Able ambassador actually doing for you? Because I think I know I've got a feeling what it's doing for you, but I want to hear you say it. So firstly though, tell me a bit more about this banter and sort of what your view is on that, because That's fairly prolific across our industry, isn't it?
It is, yes. I think a little bit less so these days than when I was doing it. I know it's only 13 years ago, which makes me feel old. So yeah, when I was 16, 17, you're the apprentice, you're the bitch, basically. You are getting it for everything. You are making teas, you're cleaning, but at the same time, you're the subject of a lot of pranks.
We probably should just say that word you've used is a term of affection.
Yes, absolutely. Not a derogatory term to be used
in any other way.
No, absolutely not.
No, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the Yorkshire coming out. I warned you.
It's all right.
So yeah, pranks would include such as you'd just be randomly minding your own business and slapped across the face with CV boot grease, or brushed through the overalls, sent up on a ramp. I was once put in a cardboard box that was filled with water. I mean, obviously didn't get very far, it's cardboard. Locked in the back of a dog kennel, in the back of a transit van. Dragged across the floor by my nostrils was a personal favourite just after I had an operation on my nose. But yeah, I mean, that's just to name a few. I couldn't possibly remember them all because A, there were that many, and B, I've blocked a lot of them out. But
right.
That continues more recently. I'll not name any names or when or where, because I have worked somewhere else before in between. So I was, so I get a lot of banter. I was looking to move towards like a workshop control role at some point. And what I'd get was people turning my laptop off. And obviously that it's a bit funny at first, but then when it's all day, every day for a week, it grates on you. And you want, you're trying to work, you're getting past the point of being 16, you're now in your late 20s, you're wanting to work and do right. Naturally, because of the type of guy I am, I retaliated. So the guys were all sat having lunch, and I took the jet wash to them all. A bit of water, harmless fun. I got dragged onto the floor and pummeled on the floor. I deserve that. I hold my hands up. I accepted that. I'm okay with that. Later on, they thought it'd be funny to then do the same again, which again, whatever. I'd not really done out to deserve it this time. So I was like, all right, this is going a bit far now. What they decided to do, which is apparently a thing that they do to a lot of the guys in the workshop, was to rip your pants off while you're still wearing them. Was not okay. I was not happy with that at all. It was the one, I knew it had been going off. And it was the one line I drew. I said, look, I'm fine with anything. You can put me on floor and 3-4 of you gang up and just give me a dead arm and dead leg. Whatever, I'm fine with that. It's funny, as long as it's not all the time. But you're not ripping my pants off while I'm wearing them. That is a big no. And they did it. And obviously I got Mardy, I threatened to go to HR, and they immediately then I'm the bad person. But no, it's like, again, this goes back to when you're a kid, it's funny, it's childish behavior. If you're all for it, you're all for it. But if you're drawing a line, you need to honor that line. Like, I'm okay with banter. Anyone can say anything to me. They can take mick in any way, shape or form they want, whatever that may be. I'm sure you can imagine the sort of stuff that gets said in a workshop. But if I'm drawing a line, that is it. That is it. It's not okay to go past that line. As soon as someone stops laughing, it's bullying, basically.
Yeah. I think actually it's a very fine line anyway, whether that person's laughing or not. I mean, and it's in the world that we're living in now, it's become very sort of evident that the type of stuff that you've described, I'm sure we've got people listening who are absolutely cringing. I'm sitting here going, oh my, seriously?
Going, as if he's going through that. But again,
and this is fairly recent you're talking about, isn't it? This isn't.
It is fairly recent, yeah. So I mean, like I say, I'm okay with the other bit. I'm explicitly okay with it. It's not like I'm just saying it to be all right. I'm actually all for it. If we all find it funny and we're all joining in, then it's lads being lads. But it's people have got to know where the boundaries are. And if someone has explicitly stated a boundary, you definitely shouldn't cross it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. Again, I wouldn't consider the before bit bullying because I was okay with it. We were all doing it. It didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. But it was the after bit that got me.
So how prolific across our industry do you think that sort of behaviour actually is then? I mean, you'd like to think, you work for a large PLC now. You'd like to think that's fairly minimal.
You would like to think that, wouldn't you? But knowing what I know, being on the bottom end of this and not talking to your bigwigs up top, I reckon it'll go off in every single workshop.
Right.
Without a doubt. There's no way.
To some degree or other.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way it doesn't. I think it would be naive to think that, one place is the only place it goes on. Like it might not go to whatever extreme, but you know what I mean.
So the point is then, from our perspective in terms of Menable, we're all about awareness, education, and prevention. Now, you said that there was somebody in your business that took their own life.
Yes.
What we have no idea or knowledge of is that what part some of that in his past might have played.
That's true. The truth is, the guy was quite quiet, kept himself to himself, and especially I was off on furlough in the November, which is when it happened, and apparently in the couple of weeks leading up to it, it was just really kept himself to himself. But he hadn't kept it. He'd sort of like booked a holiday and things like that for his 50th, because I think it was it was this year he turned 50, or he would have turned 50. He'd booked to go away, a big expensive holiday. But honestly, you just talk to the guy, you wouldn't know.
So assuming that there was let's assume that there was absolutely no connection there whatsoever. The problem that I have is that what you've just described is an environment where, how is that person going to feel comfortable stepping forward and talking to his colleagues about what's going on in his mind? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you do, you're ridiculed.
As soon as you do, you're put in a cardboard box that's filled with water, and actually in the back of your mind, you're at an 8 out of 10 on a scale of 10, where 8, 9, and 10 is not good.
Yeah. At the same time though, some of these people, the same people, you can have a very serious conversation with. If I know that if I went to these people and said, look, I'm not feeling right, have you got a minute? They probably would chat.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing, He's like, two very different personalities. It's like a lads personality, and then a quite serious one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the point. The point, isn't it? But that takes a confident sort of person like you or me to step forward and go, guys, enough with the banter for a minute. Can we just, I need to talk to you about something serious,
Yeah.
But not everyone's going to do that, are they? And that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Is in raising awareness and education that goes, it's all very well having banter, but you need to have someone's back at the same time.
Yeah. And that needs to start at the top, really, doesn't it?
It certainly does. So I said to you at the beginning of that I'm intrigued to know what it is that drew you to Menable, and what in the time that you've been with us, you clearly you don't hold back in posting and commenting, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
So what are you getting out of being an ambassador for Menable then? What's it doing for you?
Personally, it's just that raising awareness. Because again, I've suffered with my own mental health, and anyone that knows me would think that I'm the happy chappy generally, other than the odd break. I'm not going to lie, I do have a bit of a mental meltdown, but it's making people aware that they can come and talk to me. I can be serious as well. But yeah, it's just everyone's got these issues you really don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know what's going on in people's lives, what they're suffering with, because they've put on a front. It's all acting.
Yeah.
So everyone does.
And the good news is that you've opened the door for us to go and have a chat with your bosses.
Yes.
They're open to that. So, that says that you are working in an environment where, we know there's got to be a lot of change across the industry, but at least you're working in a business that is taking this stuff seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listening to its people. So, yeah, which is great. All right. So what's next then for you then, James? Either as a as an
Well,
ambassador, or more importantly, in your career, because that's the bit that pays the mortgage?
well, yeah, that's it. Fresh mortgage at that. I've been in 4 months.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you were telling me about that last time. So yeah, well done.
So yeah, obviously, I just want to further in any way I can be that where I'm at, or with Enable. I just whichever. I just want to get higher and higher, basically. Look at everyone else down below going, hey, and, you know. But
I told you.
But as well, I think little man syndrome. I'm 5'5". You can't tell on camera, but I'm really, really small. So I need to look down on people.
Oh, I never knew that, because I think when I met you in Daventry, you must have been sat down, or
I will have been.
You look quite stocky on camera, so I wouldn't have had you down as 5'5".
Oh, I'm massive from the waist up. That's it. I'm, built like a brick house.
I wonder where you're going with that for a minute.
Steady boy. But no, I got a really big body, really tiny little legs. I'm like Johnny Bravo.
Like Stretch Armstrong.
Well, yeah. Wish I would. Just stretch me out just a couple of inches. I'll be happy 5'8". I'll be happy.
Yeah, no, I'm about 5'8". That's okay. That's all right. It's not a bad height to be. Yeah, no, I get you on that one.
Yeah.
All right, nice one. Well, James, look, it's an absolute pleasure having you in the team as an ambassador. I know that I can say publicly that the management team of Menable and the other ambassadors hold you in massively high regard. We talked about that off camera before, and your posts and comments and sharing of stuff is always of great value. And when we have Menable ambassador updates and sessions, you always participate in those.
Yeah.
Very frankly and very openly as well. So
anything I can do to help.
No, you're a top man. Thank you very much. And what would you say to anyone who might be considering becoming an ambassador? Because that's the next bit, isn't it? To grow the team. What do you think?
Anyone can get on board. I mean, all you've got to do is just spread the message. Now, another analogy for you. I think Menable is a bit like the story of Sisyphus, if you know it, the Greek mythology. Here we go. Bit of education for you. So Sisyphus was cursed by Zeus to push a boulder uphill all the time for all of eternity, but no matter what he did, when the boulder got to the top, it fell down. So if you think of the Menable cause like that boulder, and we're pushing it up to top management, and shit rolls downhill, we need to get it up to the top and just let it fall and just take out everyone on the way down.
Wow. Okay. And the point is that we're going to push that up, but we need more people with us.
We need more people pushing.
Yeah, nice analogy. I like it. And what was that guy's name? Sisyphus.
Sisyphus.
Right. Okay. It's dangerously close to an unpleasant illness, but yeah. Okay.
You never know the Greeks.
Yeah.
Greek mythology.
Absolutely. In these days of absolute correctness. Yeah, totally with you. James, you are a star. We think you're great. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing so openly today on Menable Matters. Have you enjoyed being on the podcast?
Absolutely. Do it again at some point.
Yeah, James part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to be done. All right. But for now, thank you very much. Take care.
See you later.
Cheers.